Welcome to our show, Barman Saturdays, and this week I decided to take a look at Fighting Ace, which comes in this pack of 5 movies, 4 of them being considered a bonus. As far as the plot goes, it's rather weak in my opinion. The film kicks off with our main character's parents, being killed by another kung fu master who also takes the time to do things we can't talk about to his mother.
What else do you want? I want to have you.
I hope you can see why. Daddy YouTube gets really mad when we talk about those kinds of subjects, okay? We're not allowed to. At any rate, she asks for, the manservant to make sure her son avenges her death. And he agrees, and so we cut to 22 years later where, the son's trying to learn kung fu under various masters to try and learn enough techniques to be able to defeat this guy. And they start the film off by him joining a household as a servant where they agree to, we'll provide you with 2 workers for the price of 1. And the guy's like, you know what? I'll take it, even if one's a useless old man. But it was all to sneak in because the useless son of this rich family, they're serving under, is a complete waste of time when it comes to learning the martial arts. Completely useless and basically falls over drunk constantly. Like seriously, I don't even know why his father even bothered to hire a kung fu master to train him when he admits he's a drunk, worthless layabout. Like seriously, spend your money on something else, man. But anyway, it's just an excuse for why he has to get away from his first master. He's like, yeah, you've been thrown out because you beat up, one of the family servants after, you started whipping your old manservant, so, you gotta go. Otherwise, we're gonna have to kill you. But his master's like, yeah, I can't leave. I'm kind of under contract, so, yep. But his daughter eventually chases after him because, they gotta have their own love story after she helps bandage up his injuries all over his body from being, whipped. And then he starts studying under a few different kung fu masters at the same time, which of course doesn't go over very well because when the girlfriend catches up, she snitches on him. Because she's like, you're not supposed to do that. You train underneath one master and one master alone. You're not allowed to learn various kung fu styles to create a superior style of kung fu. That's against the law. But apparently, this guy likes to just kick the law/tradition, just like he kicks his opponents, so he's like, I don't care, I need to learn this stuff to get revenge. Though why he's so strongly interested in the revenge, I'm not sure. I can only assume the manservant whispered to him constantly about how he needs to get revenge for his parents. At any rate, after that stunt, they eventually, go chasing after the girl after the 2 kung fu masters he's studying underneath at the same time start fighting over who gets to teach him. Why they're even fighting over that at all, I have no idea, because you think they'd both just tell him to get lost. You don't care about tradition, and why are you guys trying to decide who's his best teacher is anyway? Who cares? They really like him that much because he's just that capable? At any rate, he runs off, and the girl's gotten herself into trouble with some boys studying underneath another kung fu master, where they're obviously trying to assault her after they beat her up. Because that's just how these movies have to go, right? But of course our main character steps in, starts, kicking butt, along with his friend that, joined him from this house he was serving underneath for a little bit in the early part of the film. And then they go back to their master and tell him, this 21-year-old, was kicking our butts with these really powerful kicks. So he sends his 2 bodyguards after them to test them, and then decides, I'm going to teach the guy that's who's out to kill me. Not that he realizes that first, nor does his student realize that he's his target. So he starts learning underneath, the master that he's out to get, for a little bit at least. And then he gets tricked to go beat up another kung fu master with some lies about how he sent people to beat up some of the other students late at night. Take them out in the dark when they couldn't see what was coming. Only for, the girl, wait, that's that guy you beat up, he's a friend of my dad. You idiot. At any rate, eventually, he mentions to, his newest master, the killer, oh, yeah, I'm looking for a guy that killed my parents. And then drops his father's name, and the guy's like, oh, shit. And sends him off on errand in the forest so his bodyguards can try and kill him with weapons this time. And then he goes off to go kill, the manservant. Because he's like, I gotta finish the job from 20 years ago. Why? I don't even get why he cares to kill that guy at this point, He's an old man. What's he gonna do? magically raise money, he's broke. It's one of the plot lines of the movie. That they have no money. At any rate, after after his best friend and his girlfriend step in to try and protect the old man for a little bit, we cut back to our main character fighting the two bodyguards, and eventually he wins and kills them. And then we just jump to, his girlfriend, best friend losing to his target, but not dying at that point. No, they're still alive, but badly injured as he's approaching to finish them off. When he suddenly just jumps onto the scene, he's like, "Wait!" So then they get into it, but after realizing he's outmatched, his best friend steps in so they can two-team him. Yes, we don't even get a proper climax, with a one-on-one fight to the death. We have to have a two-on-one. And even with that, we still end up with the best friend dying in order to take out the master he's after by holding one of the guy's legs down and just refusing to let go and even biting him in the leg at one point like he's a Saiyan or something. Ugh. Giving me flashbacks to Goku when he was fighting Frieza and bit his tail. At any rate, we then end with him carrying off, his best friend, saying they'll never forget him. And that's the end. So, yeah, story-wise, this movie feels rather weak. All the best stuff involves the martial arts, which... This film comes from the golden age, some would argue, for martial arts films. But I found the martial arts really hard to keep my attention at times, because it's obvious, and more than a few shots, that, they're kicking up in a way, or they're punching really wide. Obviously, they're trying to use, wide enough angles so you can see the action, because if it's too close up, it really sucks. But at the same time, it's obvious with some of the shots they don't have the right angle to really trick the audience with the attack if you're paying enough attention. And it probably gets only worse if they play it in slow mode, so at least this film doesn't do that. Unlike another film I've watched before involving martial arts. At any rate, I guess if you're a fan of martial arts movies, you might have this one down as a guilty pleasure. And yes, because this is a foreign film, they did a terrible English dub, so the characters all sound awful. But yeah, I really can't recommend this one on storyline. It's all about, just who can throw the best punches and kicks. And there's probably better films for that too. But if you enjoy this film, more power to you. But yeah, I had a hard time keeping interested, throughout the entire runtime. Until next time, then. See ya.